Okay.
All righty, guys. Well, thank you guys for joining our Monday evening host coaching. Typically, it's Miranda that does the host coaching training, but she was not available this evening, so you're stuck with me. I'm so sorry. So what's really cool, though, is a couple of you guys are brand new, so you're going to be brand new to not only our team, but also to our systems that we use for all of the different areas in our business.
Okay.
A lot of times you guys are going to hear me say, and you're going to hear me say things over and over and over and over again. And it's only because these are things that work. Okay. And we want you guys to not only get off to a strong start if you're a brand new consultant, but we also want you guys to have a continuous, consistent business. And part of how you're going to do that is through coaching your hosts the same way every single time. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So no matter whether you're doing a virtual party, which many of you guys are going to be doing, or whether you're doing cooking shows, your host coaching is where you make all of your money at. Okay. So every amount of time that you invest in host coaching is worth it, because at the end of the party, you're going to know whether you did a really good job at host coaching or a really bad job at host coaching.
Okay.
So why do I say that? Let's first talk about what is host coaching. We're going to scale things back tonight. We're just literally going to do this by the bare bones of what host coaching is. Okay. Because some of us are tech savvy, some of us are not tech savvy. And so I want you guys to all understand it from a very bare minimum perspective of what host coaching is. So in your opinion, what is host coaching? What do you guys think host coaching is?
Leading them to make the correct posts and things like that.
Okay, so working with your host.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Anybody else have an idea of what they think host coaching is?
Talking them through the expectations and how everything's going to go, and keeping them up to speed.
Absolutely, yeah. So really providing a structure for them to know exactly what they're going to experience from their party, right? Renee, what do you think host coaching is?
Oh, just basically training them to be involved, interact, and to engage their friends in the party.
Yeah. Christine, what do you think it is?
It's engaging. It's having them interact in the party and engaging them to make sure that, because it is their party, it's not our party, it's their party.
Right.
So you don't want them ghosting their party. They need to show up and keep their friends and their family interacting in the party as well, to keep them engaged.
Absolutely. So you see how each one of us have a different takeaway with what host coaching is, right? So we all have kind of an idea of what we think host coaching encompasses. And really, you're all right. Every one of you guys are right with what you said. So I want you guys to understand that, we are party planners, okay? That is what our job is to do in direct sales with the business that we work for. We are party planners. Our job is to plan a party. Planning a party encompasses everything from the time the party is booked to the time the party is closed and afterward, okay? So a lot of times you're going to work with hosts that this is their very first time that they've ever hosted a party before, okay? Especially with direct sales. And so let me ask you guys this. Do you want to entrust your paycheck into somebody else's hands, or do you want to control what your paycheck is going to look like?
I think we want to control.
Yeah, right? We want to control that.
Yeah.
And, why would I hand my income over to somebody else? That's exactly what you have to kind of question yourself is, am I going to do this half-heartedly or wholeheartedly? Do I want a little paycheck or a big paycheck? And that's where host coaching comes into play. So you're lucky enough that you have joined or are a part of a team that has a system in place for you guys, literally from the time your party is booked to the time the party is closed and then afterward. And it's a really simple system, okay? Now, I will tell you, it's not simple, though, if you're picking and choosing what pieces or parts you're going to use of it, okay? It's meant to be a start to finish, complete guideline for you guys to follow so that you get the results that you're looking for. Because, you know, every show, yes, we want to make money from every single show, but it's not just about the paycheck, okay? It's about obtaining future business from that party as well. So do any of you guys like having to reach out to people to book parties? Anybody? Probably not, right?
I haven't done it. I haven't done it yet.
Okay, so you haven't done it yet, but that's going to be something that you're going to start working on here soon, right? And you're going to find that we really don't like having to send messages to get bookings or make phone calls to get bookings, because what we're going to hear and experience is a lot of no, right? We're going to hear no from a lot of people, and especially that you don't expect to hear it from.
Sure.
And so booking shows from every single show is going to eventually eliminate you from being in the position where you're constantly asking for bookings, okay? If you do an effective show from the start when it's booked to the close of when you're finished, you're going to have everything that you need, and it's from the power of host coaching. So, you know, what is another piece of our business that we always, you know, kind of tend to put on the back burner, but really it's one of the most important pieces of host coaching, is asking our host about the business opportunity, okay? So I want you guys to think about this. Every one of us signed up to become a consultant, right? How many of you guys hosted a party before you became a consultant? I know I did.
I did.
So every single one of us have hosted a party, and then we became a consultant. And that really is where all of your natural recruit leads come from, is your host. Your host is always going to be your number one recruit lead. Otherwise, they wouldn't be hosting a party with you, right? If they don't like the products, they're not going to, especially if you're doing cooking shows, invite you into their home. But more so, you know, they're not going to have that interaction with you. So, you know, not only does the host coaching system that we have encompass the ways that, you know, is going to get lots of guests in your party, but it also has in it built in the words to say to your host to get them, you know, to encourage them to join your team. Okay. And I know a couple of you guys are brand new consultants and you're like, I don't want to join it. I don't want to have team. I don't want to like add people. I'm brand new. But honestly, this is the best time for you to start growing a team, is when you're in your first 90 days, because there's so many rewards through it. Okay. So, you know, host coaching is literally the lifeblood of your business. It's really what is going to determine the future success of that show and your future business as well. So I definitely, you know, would encourage you guys to engage with your host through that process, no matter if it's a cooking show or a virtual party. You have to stay connected to them. And that's really what host coaching is all about. So just like I'm on here training you guys, right, in this area of your business, our job is to teach a host how to have an amazing show. Because I will tell you this, after doing this for so long, that when a host has a bad experience with you, they're going to tell 15 friends, okay? But if you have an amazing experience with you, they might tell 1 or 2 people. The bad always outweighs the good, which is unfortunate, but it is extremely true in our culture.
Rebecca, I'm sorry. I can't, I'm just going to have to listen to you. I can't get it on my thing right now. Just so you know, I tried, but I can't do it yet. So
that's not a problem.
Not to interrupt you.
No problem at all.
Okay.
So, you know, I want you guys to think about that, though. Every host is the chance and the opportunity for future business, because on a positive note, they are going to tell their friends how amazing that you did, okay? But you definitely don't want the flip side of that, where, you know, you're not doing your job, they don't have a great experience, and then they're telling 15 friends. So, you know, every interaction that you have with them is really important for that reason, because you're building a connection with them. So, you know, we think of host coaching as the sales and the bookings and the recruiting, but really it boils down to, we're in a relationship business. Okay. So how often should you guys talk to your host? What do you guys think?
What, during the party or after the party? Anytime.
That's a good question, right? During the party, before the party, after the party? Because really, the relationship begins, or the host coaching begins from the moment that they say yes and book a party. Okay? A lot of us think that, oh, well, you know, I don't really have to start interacting with this host until, you know, a week before the party starts, or as you're creating it on a Tuesday. But I will tell you, the more you can get engaged and get connected with those hosts, when you ask them to do something, if you've already built a relationship with them built on trust and respect, when you ask them to do something, they're going to do it. It's just plain and simple. That's how it's going to be. But if you have not done a good job connecting with them as a host, consultant, but more so as a friend, they're not going to work with you or work for you the same way they would had you spent the time, you know, fostering that relationship with them. So, you know, I encourage you guys to get to know your hosts, okay? Not just from the Pampered Chef perspective, but from life, okay? So when you book a show, go onto their personal wall and get to know them, right? Check out their photos, see what their family looks like. Scroll down through and get to know, you know, I don't know, maybe they like horseback riding and maybe you have that in common. That's a conversation starter, right? You could be like, oh my gosh, so I was stalking you, LOL, you know, because we don't want to think of stalking them. And I seen that you have a passion for horses. Well, guess what? So do I. So, you know, our relationship and our connections with our hosts don't just have to be about Pampered Chef. Some of the strongest connections I have with my hosts have been around different things, you know, around my love for bowling, or, you know, my love for watching scary movies, or my love of music. You know, I connect with people in a lot of different ways, and that's why they stay. So let me ask you guys, do you want to just host a party, come to the end of the party, everything's done, host gets the orders, and then you never speak to them ever again?
No.
Right. Would you prefer that the host has this amazing party, you close up the show, you check back in with her once the orders arrive, and 5 or 6 months later, she's reaching out to you because she knows the new catalog's coming and says, hey, Carla, I would really love to do a party with you again. If you gave them an amazing experience, that's exactly what will happen, you guys, is that person will come back to you over and over and over again. It's the feeling, it's the way that we make people feel that keep them around us. So I will tell you, if you're not rebooking your host at the end of the show for 6 months later, you're missing a boat. Okay. So when I close every one of my host shows out, the last thing that I have this conversation with her about is, hey, you know, Renee, I know you're just hosting a party and you just had an amazing show and you got all of this free stuff, but we'll have a brand new catalog coming out in 6 months. Can I contact you then to, you know, set up a fall show? So guess what happens when Becky's walking into fall? I have a list already ready of everybody that has told me, hey, follow back up with me in 6 months, right? I have a list going, and I have a reason to connect back with them. So are you guys intimidated by host coaching? Are you intimidated at all? Well, I know, you know, a couple of you guys haven't gotten to use our host coaching outline yet. But does that intimidate you guys to think about having to stay that connected to someone?
No.
No? Okay.
Not for me. I'm a people person, so.
Perfect.
Yeah,
Well, you're in a people business, so I guess you picked the right one.
I guess so.
Yeah, most definitely. So what do you think, Christine? Does it freak you out at all having to be that connected to people?
No, not at all. I have a good relationship with my past hosts. So, and I have several parties booked starting in the spring from the parties I've had in the past.
Yay, Christine. Good job.
Yeah, it's, you know, it's literally the taste that you leave in someone's mouth, you know, to just go bare bones. It's the taste you leave in someone's mouth. You know, if you've done a really good job, they've had an amazing show, an amazing experience, they're going to come back for more and more and more, right? But if it's the flip side and we haven't done a good job, they're just not going to probably choose you the next time that they need Pampered Chef products or, you know, to have a show. So what questions do you guys have on host coaching or on our systems?
I think it's just getting to know the lingo
Yeah.
of everything. To be honest with you,
There's a lot of different words you're going to hear, and especially if you've never done direct sales before, it's kind of like, what in the heck is Becky talking about? If you've done direct sales, sometimes it comes a little bit more natural to you, because a lot of the different companies will use the same terminology throughout. But have you scheduled a one-on-one call yet? You're under Carolyn, right?
Yes, I'm under Carolyn.
Have you guys done a one-on-one call yet?
We talked a little bit yesterday. Just she's helping me with the show that's going to start on Thursday.
Okay.
So she's kind of talking me through that right now. She's just getting like my VIP page, helping me get all that kind of stuff set up.
Okay, perfect.
Because it's still just so fresh. I just closed my show and so we're right in on it. So I'm glad about that. I'm just it's a little overwhelming at first when you see all those red words and all the green words and then the red words and it's just I think you just need to make sure that you're reading what you're sending.
Absolutely.
And not just copy and pasting and not realizing what you're actually asking of them. So
yeah, and that's really, you know, our system that we have put together, it really is designed that you can take it and mold it to your personality. Each one of us write a different way. I tried to make it very generic when I wrote it, but if you're not somebody that says, hey y'all, or, you know, talks to like your girls like, hey girly, what's up? Or, you know, if you're trying to take Becky verbiage, like if it were written out the way that I actually communicate with people, if I would have written it that way, and you sent it to people, they would be like, who the heck is she and what has she done with Renee, right? So definitely, you know, you have to definitely put your personality into your own words because people expect it, you know, to be a certain way, especially if they're close friends. If I tried to be like super politically correct, my people would look at me and be like, oh, this is not Becky. They would definitely know that it was Becky copying and pasting from something. So let's kind of talk through our host coaching system, just a little bit to kind of touch base. So yes, everything in red is going to be the words that you're sending to your host, okay? And again, you do want to kind of look down through it, make sure if it says dates, you know, that you're filling in dates right there. If it says hi host, of course you don't want to send it hi host to your friend. You know, because you'd be like, okay, what in the world's going on? Built into it, so like I started to say earlier, we challenge you guys to ask your host 5 times about the business opportunity. And I know for some people that sounds like a lot, okay, but these are not hard asks. It's not saying, hey, Renee, will you join my team? Hey, Renee, would you like to join my team? Hey, Renee, have you decided whether you're going to join my team yet? You know, that's not how it's built in because that's not how people naturally respond. So number one, the first ask is literally in from the time that you're booking the show and you just talk about the benefits right here in the little PS. They're not going to respond to you about the business opportunity. I would lay $95 out of $100 on that. Okay. They're not even going to respond to that. It's something that gets brushed over, but they read it. So it's planted the seed in the back of their mind. Okay. So that's number one. Preferably you do want to have a phone call with your hosts. Okay. If you're somebody that doesn't like to talk on the phone as me, I don't really like to talk on the phone. I will if I have to. I love to Zoom, but I hate a phone. I don't understand why. So most of my hosts though, I have more of a messaging relationship with or a voice recording. So a lot of times I'll voice record and send that to them through Messenger. And that's how I communicate most of the time with my hosts. So again, this is just going to walk you down through exactly what our process is, so things to cover in that conversation. You wrap it up with a thank you message. You have your host, you know, because you're a couple weeks out at this point. You have your host post on their wall so people know to expect a Pampered Chef party coming up in the next couple weeks, okay? Mm-hmm. So you give them these words in this picture. The week of the party starting, we create our party groups on Tuesday, and there's a method to my madness, you guys. Our parties start on Thursday. So when you create the party on Tuesday and you get the host inviting, it gives them plenty of time for you to cattle prod them a little bit if they're not listening. It gives you plenty of time with that 2-day little leeway of time there to get the amount of people that you want to have in the party group.
Yes.
So not saying that, you know, let's say it's Thursday and there's only 10 people in the party. That doesn't mean you're going to say, you know what, I can't do your party. You're still going to keep going, but you're going to keep encouraging them to add more friends or message people to join in. So this is going to walk you down through everything that you're going to message back and forth with your host after you've created the party group. And I'll tell you, if you take these words and you literally copy and paste them, it will work, okay? I do not have any party groups since I've developed this system with less than 50 people in the party groups. My virtual party average is over $700, and I typically book 2 to 3 virtual parties from every single show that I do. Cool. So if you follow this system, you're going to get the same kind of results. So the next Wednesday, again, you're having a conversation on that next day. If they're not at, 40 people, you're encouraging them again with this message. And basically, you're letting them know right here, okay, that you take your business very seriously, okay? A lot of times in direct sales, people look at what we do as just fun money, right? They look at what we do as, oh, this is just something Becky does for fun. This is just a way for Becky to get lots of food choppers in her kitchen. No, this is how I pay the bills, okay? And so I'm expressing that to my hosts so that they understand the amount of time that I am putting into your show. I want it to be reciprocated. And this is where I said earlier that if you've built that relationship ahead of time before you start sending all these messages, right, they're going to be a lot more receptive to what you're sending. But if you start sending them a message that says, hey, Renee, you need to invite 120 people to this party, this is why, but this is the first time they're having a conversation with you, they're going to look at you a whole lot different, okay? So again, Wednesday after the party group's created, you're just encouraging them again to make sure you have enough people in the party group. They post another reminder about the party coming. And again, it's the words back and forth. You create a group message. If you're somebody like me that's running anywhere from 6 to 10 virtual parties a week, it's a lot easier to put all of your hosts into a group message as long as they've given you permission, which this walks you through getting that permission, to just send one group of messages as opposed to 10 groups of messages, okay? And so I don't think in all of the years I've been doing virtual parties, I don't think I've ever had somebody say, no, I don't want to be added to a group message. Because you're expressing to them right here that it's only going to be one little post that you're going to do in that group message a day. It's not going to be you posting 15 things, right? Because nobody likes group messages anyway, especially ones that are like blowing the truck up and just going crazy. And then from here, this walks you through all of the images day by day that you're going to send and the words you're going to send to your host for them to post into your party group, okay? So day one, they're simply going in and welcoming their friends because it's the right thing to do, right? It's a good thing for your host to welcome their friends. It shouldn't just be you welcoming those people. It should be them as well. On Thursday, you guys will see right here, this is Ask Host number 2. So the party is just starting. So really there's most of the time at this point, you may have 1 or 2 orders, maybe, or none. So this is the perfect time for that host to say, yes, I want to, join your team. You're giving them, the option right now. But again, 95% of the time, they're going to be a no or not respond to you at this point. Most of the time, they're just going to blow right past that message and not respond. So Friday, again, here's a picture and words that you're going to share with them, and they're going to send to or post in the group. Saturday, same thing. On Saturday, you're going to do ask host number 3. And this one, guys, you're just encouraging them. It's really not even about you asking them to join your team. It's you telling them that they're doing an amazing job. Who likes to hear appreciation and recognition? I know I love it, right?
Yeah.
So if I've done a really good job at something, I love it when somebody says, hey, Becky, you rock. You've done a great job. So that's all you're doing. You're telling them that they're doing a fabulous job. You would love to have somebody like them on your team, and they would make a great consultant. Again, not asking for them to join the business. You're planting a seed along the way. So we get to Sunday, again, words and a post. Today is the day. So Sunday, you'll see it not only here in the host coaching, but also in our outline, that these words are there for you. There's words that you're going to, again, send to your host, and that this is the message that they're going to send out to all of their guests. You'll see these words in there also for you to send out in private messages to everybody that has either ordered or not ordered yet on the party. Day 5, Monday, it's the last party day. Again, here's the post for her. This is the game-changing ask host number 4, okay? This has actually been tracked by our home office when this system is followed from ask host 1 to ask host 5. 76% of people that say yes on this post right here, okay? So this is when you're messaging them, you know, if their party hasn't qualified or qualified, to ask them with a hard answer, you know, hard question about joining your team. And I'll tell you that if the party is at the $300 level, you know, and they've earned a kit credit, most of the time, this is when they're going to say yes. Okay. So this is the one though that you will get the game-changing results with when it comes to recruiting your hosts from a virtual party. Okay. And again, there's different scenarios here for you, different verbiage, different ways that you can say things, and of course you can kind of edit it to yourself. Ask host number 5 is when you're going over the rewards. So basically you're closing the party at this time, and you're pretty much just telling them, hey, you know, I know you said no yesterday, but I want to make sure, you know, because you have this kit credit, it's one of your host benefits for you to use. And again, if they didn't say yes on number 4, most of the time they're still going to say no on number 5. Okay. So that really is as simple as our host coaching process is, okay? It's literally words you're sending back and forth, and everything's kind of written out for you. And it's really about whether you choose to use the entire system or you choose to use the pieces and parts of it that you're like, you feel comfortable with, okay? No growth in any job is ever going to happen when you're in your comfort zone, okay? So if you want results from your business, you have to be willing to step outside of that comfort zone that we all love because it feels good and it's cozy and it's safe. But if you are somebody that wants a long-term business, you're somebody that wants to have, I don't know, $1,000 paycheck every month, you're somebody that wants to, I don't know, quit your job, or you're just somebody that wants to do the best party you possibly can, then you follow the systems that are there for you. So I have this philosophy, and then I'm going to open it up for questions, that no matter whether you're doing 1 party a month or you're doing 25 parties a month, you make every single one of those parties count the same way. Okay? We don't pick and choose who we offer the business to. We don't pick and choose who we give a great party to. We give the same level of ourselves to every person, no matter what. And I'll tell you that that is exactly how I have had a business for the last 9 years, that I do almost $100,000 in sales myself every year. And that's exactly what separates me from the rest. is that every person gets the same experience no matter what. So what questions do you guys have?
Becky, I have a question, especially about just what you said. Okay, you're sending this out. I went to somebody's house to deliver their products that they had ordered from me, and I wouldn't drink a glass of water at this house. Let's put it that way. But so but then she was a virtual host and stuff. So you still would want me, to give her that same opportunity? Because she's a wonderful person and stuff, but I think let's say she wanted it, I think it would not give a good representation for Pampered Chef if she became a consultant, if she tried doing that, for anybody who would go to her kitchen or home or something. So
I will tell you, Christine, that I know that this might sound crazy, but there's a lot of different things to consider when we walk into people's homes, and one of those sometimes is mental illness issues. And it's not my place to judge someone else's situation. There's times you would walk into my house and you'd be like, oh my God, it's a hot mess in here. And I wouldn't really want to have somebody not offer me the business because of, my surroundings. Not all of us can afford, the different things that some of us can. Some of us, I'll tell you a really quick story that I had I've done over 1,000 cooking shows. And the one experience that still to this day sticks out to me is my one host, and I was driving down to West Virginia and I was getting ready to get off 81 onto her exit. She calls me and she says, hey, Becky, she is like, everybody canceled on me. So we're going to just cancel the party. And I'm like, okay, well, I'm around the corner, so I'm going to stop by, make sure, I could leave some extra catalogs, whatever. And so I get there and I literally am walking up to the door and I start gagging from my mouth because the smell hits me. Okay. So I get up to the door, she opens the door, and literally I throw up in my mouth. That's how bad it was. And so I walk into her home because she invited me in, and it looked like a hoarding house that had just been cleaned up. Okay. So you're talking all of the trash and feces everywhere. It was the most horrible thing I've ever seen in my life. Okay. When you think about living conditions, that's what it looked like.
Yeah.
So I walk in and I did not bring my bags in, thank goodness. So I go back to the kitchen, because I followed her back, and I looked around and I was like, oh my God, there's no way I could ever host a show in this, in these conditions. And so just then her phone rings and it's one of her friends saying, oh, hey, by the way, I am able to come now. Okay. So she tells me, yay, we're going to be able to have the party. And I looked at her and I said, I'm sorry, but I'm not going to be able to cook in your kitchen. Okay. I said, and it's no offense to you. I said, but I cannot, knowingly, cook in a kitchen that I feel could contaminate other people or make them sick. She totally was respectful of that. We still, did a catalog show for her. That friend came over. So I met this host at another party, which actually was the person that was stopping by her house. So long story short, we walk out together because she drops by an order. We walk out together and she's like, Becky, I'm so sorry. I should have told you. And I was like, you know what? It happens. There's people in this world that unfortunately are in those types of situations, and hoarding is a mental illness. None of us can control that. Sometimes people think, oh, well, they're just dirty, and it's really not. It's actually a mental illness. So let's fast forward. Okay. Let's fast forward. 2 years later, I get a message from that same host that had the house. And she says, Becky, she was like, I would really love to do a cooking show with you. And here's my flashbacks coming, right? And I'm like, oh my God. So I said, you know what? I said, I would love to host a show with you. Hey, and by the way, I know you moved. Can you send me a picture of your kitchen? She sends me a picture of her kitchen. Kitchen's completely immaculate, right? And I feel good about it at this point. So I'm like, you know what? We're going to do this. I get to her house this time. The house is absolutely spotless. She looks at me, takes my hand. She starts crying. And she said, I just want to apologize to you. And I said, what for? And she said, because I know a couple of years ago when I invited you to my house that it would be shocking for you to see what you've seen. And she said, I am so sorry that I put you in that circumstance. And she said, I have never gotten over the way I made you feel that day. Look, I'm going to start crying. I have never gotten over the way that I made you feel that day. She said, but I want you to understand where I was at in my life. She was in an extremely abusive relationship with her husband that literally had beat her to death 3 times. Her son was an IV drug user. Okay. And this was the way that she protected herself, was her home. We had a $1,500 party that day. So I tell you that because people change, and it's not our place to judge their lives. And if you know that a home is that way, then, you know, give them the option to host a virtual party. Or if they want a cooking show, open your own home up to them. Because I promise that's what's going to separate you, Christine, not our judgment. Because it's easy for us to judge, right? It's so easy for us to judge each other.
It's not so much about hosting the parties, is offering them the job, offering them to become a consultant.
Maybe that's what she needs, though.
Okay. Yeah.
It's you know what? It's no different if I said, you know what? Well, I'm not going to offer this to somebody that can't hear, or somebody that can't see, or somebody that can't write. You know, it's really no different. You know,
when I went in that house, it had bugs in it and stuff like that.
Okay. Well, can she still do a virtual party, Christine?
Oh yeah, she did do a virtual party. Yeah, we did have parties. Yeah. Oh yeah.
But that's what I'm saying, though.
But when it was doing the host coaching and stuff, I was when you talk about picking and choosing, I was very selective as much as offering.
And that's where I'm going to challenge you to not do that.
Okay.
Because, you know, it could be the thing that she needs. You know, maybe financially she can't afford things. Maybe she just needs an outlet, you know, and virtual parties would be her saving grace. It's really not up to us to decide, you know, what someone else needs. It's not our role. Our role is to offer this business opportunity to every single person, no matter what. Because I think about it, you know, I've had conversations with my person that recruited me into this business, and she did not offer me this business opportunity. Okay. I offered it to myself. And when we talked about after I signed up, and she was like, you know what, I never would have asked you about this business. And I said, why? She said, because you work 70 hours a week and you have 4 kids, and I knew then you financially, you didn't need any more money. But had she known, okay, she didn't ask me then, but fast forward 5 months later when I lost my job, that Pampered Chef literally was the thing that kept my house over my head. She didn't know then, but she knew now. You know, so it really can be that thing that people are just waiting to be asked. You know, they're just waiting. I promise you they're waiting. Okay. So look at it that way. You know, just look at it from, you know, the fact that you literally could be changing someone's life. Because I'll tell you that it's changed mine forever. You know, it's changed it forever. So what other questions? All righty. Well, I'm going to stop the recording then. I appreciate you guys hopping on with me to do host coaching. I'm leading another training at 8 o'clock for Back to Basics for our weekly Monday training. So if you're staying on for that, I'm going to stop the recording and you guys can just stick around.